Meet the owner of the world's largest car collection. He owns approximately 7,000 cars. The total value of his collection is roughly $5 billion. An influential ruler and car enthusiast, or rather, a true dictator collector who put all standard car dealerships to shame. Bentley, Lamborghini, Rolls-Royce, and Ferrari. Every brand is present in his collection in its maximum, sometimes even crazy configurations. It sounds like a fairy tale for the opposition, but this is the reality of Brunei. This man makes $100 per second from oil sales and spent a fortune on cars. Nearly half of the collection went entirely to Ferrari. He had a whole room of 11 F40S, many of them exclusively painted and modified by special order. He also owned 10 McLaren F1s out of the 106 ever made, as well as all 6 produced Bentley Dominators. For a long time, he kept his Dominators a secret and paid about $5 to $6 million for each. Who is he anyway? His name is Hassanal Bolkiah, and since 1967, he has been the absolute monarch of Brunei. Officially, he is a sultan. In reality, he's a living billionaire dictator and a hysterical slacker. The country is so wealthy from oil that he bought a $350 million palace on Independence Day without a second thought. According to a British tycoon, he celebrated his 50th birthday with a grandiose concert featuring Michael Jackson, who was reportedly paid $17 million. The concert took place in a stadium built specifically for the occasion, but we are interested in just one item of his expenses, and that is his spending on cars. Just process this number, 7,000 cars. This figure is simply mind-blowing. His collection is simply called a forbidden fantasy factory. The secrecy here was absolute. Until recently, nobody really knew anything about it. But today, photos of rare cars from his collection are circulating all over the world. As they say, what is hidden will always be revealed. Now, the question is, what kind of cars are in there? We're about to find out. Let's start with Rolls-Royces. Why them? Because Brunei holds the Guinness World Record for the largest private collection of Rolls-Royces, more than 500 cars. Moreover, one model was taken to absolute absurdity. For his wedding, he ordered a Silver Spur 2 limousine that was completely gold-plated with 24-karat gold. Its value is estimated at $14 million. It's worth noting that the Sultan very often bought cars directly from the factories, but it wasn't just Rolls-Royces alone. At some point in his life, the Sultan owned 10 of the 106 ever produced McLaren F1s. At the moment, images of only 8 of these 10 F1s have appeared online. By the way, of these 8, 3 were the LM version. For context, McLaren only produced 5 such cars, and 3 of them belong to the Sultan. Also included in the collection is a black F1 GT and the McLaren F1 GTR that won the Le Mans race in 1995. That was McLaren's debut at Le Mans, a triumphant debut. Price tags for such McLarens vary significantly because, naturally, they are not available for open sale. Therefore, so as not to mislead anyone, I'll say it's definitely over 10 and probably even $15 million. Ferrari is a whole different story. Besides the F40S, of which there are at least 7 cars, including rare LM versions. The vaults also hold Ferrari F50S, sporty 288 GTOs, and even secret super projects from the 90s. If you look a bit deeper, it turns out that he has at least 6 examples of the Ferrari FX and F90 in his garage. But what are they? Those are the Testarossas that Pininfarina secretly converted into racing supercars under the Sultan's order. These cars are so secret that Ferrari itself didn't even know about them. Just look at them, at this crazy design. Looking at these projects simply blows my mind because of how much I like them and how secret they are. People found out about these cars literally decades later. And there are also several right-hand drive Testarossas in the collection, just by the way. The royal family also ordered several Bugatti EB11 OAS for their collection, including 4 EB11 OSS models with the corresponding production codes 01, 02, 03, and 13. Now some of you might be wondering, where are all these cars stored? They are kept on a vast property secured by a high wall with barbed wire on top and gates. By the way, these gates are capable of withstanding bomb explosions. Also, Let's not forget that most of the truly exclusive models are stored specifically in an underground bunker. The complex consists of 8 two-story buildings, each about 250 feet long and 60 feet wide. The entire perimeter is guarded by special guards who patrol the area with dogs. The collection also includes a Ferrari 5.5. Oh, that was packed with infrared cameras for night driving and covered in matte black paint that reflects radar. A car from around 1990 featuring James Bond technologies. There are also about 600 Mercedes cars in the collection. There is also a special yellow room for Lamborghinis. Imagine 12 Lamborghini Countaches and Diablo SE30s, all in sunburst yellow. To give you an idea of the level of obsession with exclusivity, in 1994 at the Geneva Motor Show, the Bentley Java concept car was presented. This concept was intended as an experimental project meant solely for design research. However, the Sultan of Brunei, one of Bentley's largest clients at the time, showed interest in the model and ordered several units for himself. A total of 18 cars were built, but the project was never mass-produced due to the company's financial difficulties. If we look back at the Bentley Dominator that we mentioned at the very beginning, it was the first SUV in Bentley's history, a predecessor to the Bentayga. Only 6 units were made, and the Sultan bought them all for about $4 to $5 million per car. This was back in 1996. It has an amazing paint job, by the way. Each Dominator has its own color, and one of them is actually in a yellow-orange royal yellow with a red interior. And how did those custom Ferraris come to be? By special order of Prince Jeffrey, the brother of the Sultan of Brunei, Hassanal, several custom units were made in 1988. He ordered 12 Testarossa Spiders from Pininfarina through the then Ferrari importer in Singapore and asked them to create an exclusive, top-secret supercar based on the Testarossa chassis, but with a completely unique design. But what is meant by the words top secret? The client explained that if Pininfarina agreed, nobody should find out about it, especially Ferrari. For Pininfarina, this was a real shock because they would have to hide the project from Maranello and the manufacturers they closely cooperated with. And what happened in the end? Pininfarina agreed. And what was the result? 5 Ferrari F90S, 5 Ferrari FXS, and 3 Ferrari Mythos cars. By the way, according to one possibly mythical story, Bentley was saved from bankruptcy in the 1990s thanks to orders from the Brunei royal family. What do you think of this car collection? Let me know in the comments. If this story blew you away, give it a like. So you don't miss new car videos, subscribe,